It started out, I wanted to tell a story about how people sometimes treat each other more like things than like people, and how media plays into that. I imagine that maybe comes from having grown up working as an actor since I was a kid. Actors do get treated sometimes sort of like objects on a shelf, but I don't think it's just actors. I think everybody experiences this. You know, you're talking to someone and you can just tell they're not listening to you. They've already decided what you are. They've put you in a box with a label on it. And I wanted to tell a story about that. And so I thought a relationship between a young man who watches too much pornography and a young woman who watches too many romantic Hollywood movies would be a sort of funny way at getting at these questions. This is a timeless question that you can go back as far as you want, and people, and especially women, are being reduced to objects, sex objects. And, you know, it's funny, like, my mom has seen this movie and really likes the movie, and we were actually talking about, Facebook and how nowadays sometimes it seems like people get into relationships just so they can put on their Facebook page that they're in a relationship, and how that sort of quantifies dating. And she said, well, yeah, but they always did that. They did the same thing when I was young. It wasn't on Facebook, but you still had a label for it. It was called Going Steady. And the question was, are you going steady or are you not going steady? And so I think a lot of these things are pretty timeless. He's a good family boy, cares about his parents, goes and sees them every Sunday after church. They have lunch. And, you know, his family too. It's a one-way street like all the other ones. They don't really listen to each other. They talk over each other. They expect what they expect because it's to be expected, but they're not really paying attention to the individual people at the table. You know, his dad is sort of a spitting image of himself. They even have the same name. It's John, and John, you know, he's John Sr. in the script. Tony Danza, killer performance. I imagine that actually my character, John, is called John Jr., but I don't think he would appreciate being called Junior. The first sort of glimmer of change happens in a conversation with his friend, Bobby. And I think that there's something really true about that you can talk with your buddies about stuff that you wouldn't talk with anybody else about. And I think Bobby's also sort of a couple steps ahead of John. I think he's a more grown-up dude. He still hangs with his old friends and they go out at night and have a good time, but I think Bobby's like, you know, on track to being a solid adult. And so when he sees his friend sort of caught in a downward spiral, he expresses some concern. And that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, actually. And Rob Brown is actually a really good friend of mine. We've done a couple movies together, and I wrote it with him in mind, and he's perfect for the part, I think. So here we have the quintessential quality of any Don Juan character. He's a womanizer. He, you know, treats women like things for his consumption, objects for his pleasure, and doesn't really care about them as people. And just kind of goes through one after another. But he takes a lot of pride in it. I think maybe he even enjoys getting to brag about it more than he enjoys being with the girls themselves.